And we're now joined here with Isaac Weaver, outstanding offensive lineman from Old Dominion. Isaac, I appreciate you taking time.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
Let's start at the postseason All-Star game. You were at the College Gridiron Showcase, and you put in a great week of work. I watched the one-on-ones and watched you go through the whole deal. How was that week for you? And what did you want to go out there and, I hate to use the term, but showcase? And what was some of the feedback that you got from the scouts?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. Everything from everything they did out there was really really good. There was a bunch of really talented guys that I got to go out there and meet and get to see how everyone worked and everything like that. And then also the just the stuff they did, kind of, I guess, not really behind the scenes, but stuff that a lot of the people on the outside don't get to see, like the interviews and all the testing we did was awesome. It was a great experience, and it's something that I think definitely helped my case out a little bit.
You know what's interesting about your journey and where you are now? You came into ODU, and you hit the ground running, which is rare for number one, a freshman, rare for an offensive lineman. You were all freshmen at ODU. Then you were three-time honorable mention All Conference USA. Do you feel like your start and how your career went because you hit the ground running and that preparation that has to go into that in your career, do you feel like all of that has prepared you for the journey and the jump to the NFL?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, learning how to play when you're so young, I guess, in starting that many games, it's difficult to do. It's something that I got to give credit to the older guys in the team. They kind of helped me out and showed me the ropes. But I think it was a valuable experience because it kind of showed you that, or showed myself, I guess, that I'm able to come into a new situation, learn what's going on, and then go out on the field and succeed, which is exactly what I'll be trying to do here in a few months.
It's always interesting when you hear folks outside of the football landscape talk about positions. They'll say this for an offensive lineman. I'm pretty sure you hear it and you get sick of it. Oh, just move him inside the guard. Oh, just move him to tackle. Well, guess what? You played virtually every position up front. You played some left tackle as well. I mean, you're a center. So what goes into being able to play all of those positions? Because you can't just move a guy from one spot to the next.
Yeah, I think part of it was the fact that the coaches and staff trusted me to do that, and that's something that I am very thankful for. But I think it just goes into the fact that I took the time every off season to work into my craft, and then I also took the time to make sure I learned every position. I knew what to do in every position for each individual play, and I think that was a big part of it. That's half the battle sometimes. But then just knowing that I would possibly have to do that, and then taking the time each offseason to work and say, okay, well, I've played this position. What if the team needs me to do something else? Because that was always my, uh, I guess, theory about it was that I'm going to do anything that it takes for us to, help this team win games. And a lot of the times that meant me moving positions around just because, the coaching staff trusted me and my ability to do that.
Yeah, because at the NFL level, it's really about maximizing the 46-man game day roster as opposed to the 53. And I feel like offensive line is usually has a short end of the stick in terms of how many guys they have active on game day. So they're going to ask you to do more than one thing. Was that something that when you talk to scouts and coaches at the NFL level, was that something that they were excited that you were able to bring to the table already in hand?
Absolutely. That's a big thing that I've tried to work and put out there in the world. Say that I can play all five positions. I've got game film at center guard and tackle. I think it's good quality game film as well. And so that's something that I've heard back from scouts and coaches that they really like about me. And I think that's something that I can use to further my case and making a roster here in a few months.
I always wanted to ask an offensive lineman this, because I know from a running back's perspective, okay, I love this part of, you know, Bo Jackson's game. I'm gonna try to add that to mine. Or, this is something that Barry Sanders did. I'm gonna try to do this week and try to see if it works for me. Who are some of the guys that you're watching at the pro level because you're so versatile and taking pieces of their game and added it to yours?
Yeah, I like that question a lot. I think the one player that I've really tried to model my game after, especially recently, has been Ryan Jensen, especially once I moved over to play center. I love the way he controls the offensive line when he's playing. And the biggest thing that I respect about his game is the way he plays football. I mean, he plays so aggressive and physical and through the whistle, and that's something that I try to emulate in my game. And then when I was a lot younger, not a lot younger, a few years ago when I was playing tackle, I had a huge, and I still do have a huge respect for Joe Thomas. Obviously, he's one of the best offensive linemen that's ever played football, but I think it was not just his talent and his ability that I respected, but more so his consistency and how he was able to play every single snap of every single game for so many years. I think that's a staple of a legendary offensive lineman, like just as he is.
Especially when you consider that, now is all the rave of how long is so and so's arm. Well, he didn't have long arms, and he was able to be a stalwart Hall of Fame player consistently on the left side. So I'm with you there. I was a big Joe Thomas fan also. Lastly, before we get out of here, when you think about your time at ODU, what would you say? Okay, for people that are not familiar with your game, go watch this tape because this tells you everything you need to know about me as a player and what I bring to the table.
Yeah, I would say we had a game this season we played, or this past season we played at Wake Forest. It was the first time that our team had played in 2 years due to the COVID cancellation and everything like that. But I think it was I was playing tackle in that game. I played tackle and guard, so it showed that I was able to move, position to position and succeed. And I think it was also one of the more physical games that I've played. So, and that's the kind of reputation I'd like to put out there is the fact that I'll play every snap as hard as I possibly can, and I'm going to do everything I can to finish through the whistle every play.
Love what you put out there on Phil Isaac, and I'm glad that you were able to explain how much goes into the work of being a versatile athlete up front along the offensive line. And we wish you the best of luck moving forward. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.